I'm a former New York State Supreme Court Justice. Let me tell you about a real case story. We'll call her Baby Mary. Little Mary was born with a cleft palate. That's a condition in which the palate itself is not fully formed at full term, at full birth. But it's a condition that can certainly be repaired and should be repaired within a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years after birth. Well, a surgeon was called to do the repair. A pediatric surgeon took care of it, repaired it in a hospital, did a very good job of repairing it using the standardized form of surgery for such cleft palate repairs, and put little gauze pads inside the cheeks because there was still some bleeding as a consequence of the surgery. And little baby Mary was left in the ward. Well, about an hour or so later, a nurse came in. Baby Mary wasn't breathing. Immediately, the code was called. That meant a crash cart was brought in. Doctors came rushing into the room. Nurses came rushing into the room, and they saw that Mary was not breathing. And the doctor immediately called for some kind of instrument, and he withdrew one of the little pads that had migrated the baby Mary. And as a consequence of blocking the windpipe, there was no oxygen going to the brain. And if you keep oxygen away from the brain for more than 4 minutes, then you have a condition of brain damage. And unfortunately, that's what happened here. Although the doctors were able to revive baby Mary once the gauze pad was removed, she suffered brain damage. We brought an action against those who we thought were responsible for not monitoring baby Mary the way they should have, and for the management that we thought was below the standard of care. Of course, we were resisted by the defendants at every turn. We went to trial, and after we had several witnesses on the stand, a conference was called, and ultimately the case was settled for a very substantial amount, multi-millions. But no money could ever pay and could ever be a substitute for what baby Mary had and will have for the balance of her natural life. She has brain damage, and as a consequence of that, she will be suffering as long as she lives. But at least the money that was received will give her parents a better opportunity to give her a more comfortable environment, give her better care with better people around her, and will give her perhaps a little better quality of life, hopefully. Well, that's it. This is the storyteller telling you, stay safe and keep out of danger.